Yasmin from MobilizeAmerica. I'm here to talk to you about the scariest thing about politics for first-time volunteers: door-to-door canvassing. The truth is, the idea of going door-to-door and talking to strangers may seem super scary, but canvassing is actually way easier than you think. No experience is required, and you can make a huge difference, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, a super informed policy wonk, or someone who's never talked about politics besides your family's Thanksgiving dinner table.
Why I oughta?
Now, before I get into what goes into a great canvass, let's take a step back and ask the obvious question here. Why should you care about canvassing? If there's one thing that we know, both historically and empirically, it's that old school organizing is what wins elections. And if we don't organize and mobilize, we lose. Now, what's the single most important thing that we have in our arsenal to fight back? Knocking doors. Volunteer-led canvassing is the single most effective method of impacting election results, period. According to the top social scientists who study this stuff, knocking doors is 12 times more effective than direct mail, and it's a quarter of the cost. Now, let's get into every single thing that you need to know before you head into your first canvass. Once you've figured out what canvass you'll be attending, the very first thing that you'll want to do is to get all of your supplies ready. Number 1, comfy shoes. Number 2, weather-appropriate clothes. If it's gonna be hot, bring your sun hat and your sunglasses. If it'll be cold or wet, wear a warm hat, maybe a jacket, and even an umbrella. Number 3, bring lots of water. I like to bring a small backpack to keep my extra water bottles in. You may want to bring a snack, as you'll be out and about for quite a few hours. And that's it. Now you're ready to head to your very first canvass. So, what comes next? First, you'll walk into the canvass location. Someone will be there to greet you, and after you've had a chance to sign in, you'll usually get to sit in on a quick training. It's a whole lot like this one. During that training, you'll get the following items. First, a walk packet. It's usually attached to a clipboard, maybe even a piece of cardboard. This walk list is the list of all the voters that the campaign has assigned specifically to you for the day. Walk lists can look really similar across campaigns, but for a first-time canvasser, sometimes all the codes and abbreviations can be a little intimidating. Don't worry, we're going to walk through what everything means, and if you forget, you can always ask your trainer. At the very top of the page, you might notice the words even or odd. What that means is that that particular sheet is a list of houses on either the even side of the street or the odd side of the street. This is important so you can efficiently plan your route and take your walk one side of the street at a time. Next, you'll see the canvas results section, which will either have codes or full words of why you might not be able to get a hold of a voter. Options include NH for not home, RF for refused, MV for moved, IN for inaccessible. Last, you might see DC for deceased. Next, you'll see the support section, which will usually have some sort of an option on a scale from 1 to 5. Generally, 1 means they're a strong supporter of your candidate. 2 means that they're leaning towards supporting your candidate, but haven't quite made up their mind. 3 means that after speaking with them, they're pretty undecided on who they're going to support. 4 means that they're leaning towards your opponent. 5 means they're a strong supporter of your opponent, probably not going to follow up with them.
Aww.
There might be other survey questions on the script as well, such as, will you volunteer or will you take a yard sign? Here's some really important things that you'll want to remember. Finish your packet. It's really important that you knock every door on your list and not skip any. Remember, the campaign is counting on you. Next, you want to mark down all of the information that you can, even writing down notes of what you think might be helpful to campaign staff to review based on your conversation. Next, make sure that you're talking to the person it says on your packet. You don't want to assume that just because one person in the household gives you an answer, it applies to every person. Now, in your walk packet, you're also going to see a stack of campaign literature, kind of glossy flyers. Most campaigns will just refer to that as lit. You'll want to leave one piece of lit with the voters that you talk to as your conversation is wrapping up. And when someone's not home, you'll want to leave them a piece of lit. Now here's the really important thing that you'll want to remember. You do not want to leave lit inside of someone's mailbox. You can leave lit on someone's doormat, in a crevice on their door screen, on the side of their mailbox. Just remember, don't leave it inside the mailbox. Next in your Canvas packet, you'll notice a script. This will include the specific message that that campaign wants you to emphasize when you talk to voters in that district. Now, it's really important that you look at this, as sometimes there's special instructions in there, such as mentioning a second candidate in your script in addition to the candidate that you showed up for. Okay, so now you've got your supplies, you've got your campaign materials. Now we get to the fun part. What do you actually say if someone answers the door? The answer is actually way more simple than you think. How do you talk to someone the first time you meet them? There's no special sauce here. All you're doing is having a conversation. According to top election experts, when it comes to impacting voters, whether a canvassing message is personal and conversational matters way more than the content of the message itself. At the campaign office, you'll get a script that has the exact questions that you need to ask, as well as a quick background on the candidate. Use these as a guide, but definitely not as a rule book. The whole point of a face-to-face conversation is to have a genuine exchange of ideas. All right, now let's get into what the conversation might actually sound like. Step 1, you want to identify yourself. That might sound like, "Hi, I'm Yasmin. I'm a volunteer with Tran's campaign." Step 2, you want to ask an open-ended question. Something like, "How's your day going today?" Step 3, you want to tell them a quick sentence about your candidate and then ask them an open-ended question about what issues matter most to them. Remember, each campaign will have slightly different scripts. You'll want to follow the direction of your particular campaign because they know what works best in that area. And with that, you're ready to canvass. Go to MobilizeAmerica.io to find opportunities near you. We can't wait to hear how your first canvass goes. Just remember, you've got all that you need to do an amazing job. Now let's go out there and knock on some doors and win some elections.